Hi friends, welcome back. Now I want to showcase certain things that I've added. We've seen the bot separately and the app separately in the previous videos. So what I have done right now is actually integrated both the experiences into one application that can be deployed into Azure and can be consumed both as a web application as well as a Teams-based application. So I try to make it as generic as possible. I was going through a lot of these examples on the Microsoft GitHub, but they I think tie either the experience into Teams, like the bots work only inside Teams. For some reason, they are using Teams activity handlers, and I could never get it to work correctly. So I'll keep trying that, and if we can get that to work natively inside Teams, that's actually a better option, I would say. But for now, I've integrated the generic bot that comes with the bot framework. Along with the web application. So I also will cover a bunch of other things that we have to look at when we want to start off this application locally. Like let's say you want to pull my Git repository onto your local. A couple of things you need for sure. So first thing is you need ngrok. So when you go into ngrok, the first thing they will ask you to do is basically try to sign up for an account. So if you go to ngrok, um, if you Google it, it's actually a website, ngrok. So if you go like this here, you can go in here, and then you have to sign up. Actually, you need to sign up, and you need to download the installer. And actually, they will give you a key and actually a command that you have to run. Only then it will actually work. Otherwise, it just won't work, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing you will need is a Node installation. So if you go Google here, this is also a tricky thing because you need the older version of Node. Um the most current version won't work. So you need something in the 16 release. So if you go here, download Node.js, you go there, and then you need to pick something that is. So if you see here, right, is 18. So you need to pick the older versions. So you pick the older version of. I think 16.16 is a better version. That's what I'm having. So if you go here, Node.js 16, and you can actually download the exact version. Right. So if you get it like that, you will get it in the 16.16.0. That's what I have. Okay. Once you set up all that, it will be set up in the path and all that, and you will have checked out my Teams app. So if you go to Git status here, you will see that. Oops, that's not the right place. But you will see that this entire the whole thing will be checked out. Right. So then the first thing you need to do is node minus v, just to make sure it's in the path, and then npm minus v and npx minus v. You probably won't need all of this, but better to kind of check it out, right? So those are the things that you need to make sure that you have in Spot. So the next thing you want to do is you start your application. So in this application, like if you check out the code and you will see, let me close this old other project, let me close folder, and let me open up the other one. So if you go to Teams app, so this is the Teams app that open it up, and if you see, there is actually a package .json. That's kind of how a Node application works. So and if you kind of see here, right, there are two commands. The script section, start API will start the index.js, and start app will start the app.js. So API is for creating the database, adding data into the database tables, etc. And again, I'm running everything inside Docker. So if you go back to Docker here, I think I showed this in the previous video, but I'm running MySQL in here. So to get that also, you have to get that installed, like Docker for desktop, Docker desktop for Windows. And then once you do Docker desktop for Windows, then this is pretty much the command that you will run, right? So you will run this command that will start the MySQL inside the Docker, right? And then that is the password that I'm setting it up. If you want to set it up as something else, you can definitely do that. So once you do that, then you start doing npm install. It will install all the dependencies, and then you do start API and you execute all these curl commands. It's going to create the database, create the employee table, create the employees, list the employees, delete employees, etc. So you can try out all this. So, but this is all the pre setups that you need to get the application running on your laptop. So once you do all that, the actual focus is start app, right? This is the second piece. Second piece is actually the start app piece. So that's kind of what I'm going to demonstrate now. And maybe when I want to start off with a clean slate, I can delete everything off and start off and show you that as a separate video. So what we do here is we're in the same directory. I've done. I've done the npm install. So once you do the npm install, you will see this node modules folder, and you will have a lot of directories inside it. So those are all the dependencies that we need for this application that are going to get downloaded from the internet. So pretty much like, if you were to, if you were to work in Java, you have Maven dependencies. You declare dependencies, and then it downloads everything and builds the package. Kind of similar idea here, right? So that's npm, node package manager. So if you do npm run start app, right? So that's kind of what we do. So first you start this up, and then it will basically connect to the SQL Server databases, and it will start on port 3798. It's a very common port for bots. So that's kind of what I kept, right? So if you just get this up and running, that's without errors, that means you have node set up correctly and the databases are running correctly, right? So that's the first step. So once you do that, then you actually need to start ngrok. So let me show you how to do that ngrok. So I have ngrok downloaded here. It's just an executable. So you see ngrok exe, and then if you go up here, so this is kind of how the command is. Ngrok exe http is the protocol, and minus minus host header rewrite, and 3978. So what it's basically doing is it's creating a tunneling solution. So your application that is hosted on your local laptop can be accessed via this URL externally, right? Even when you work from Teams, it is actually kind of opening an iframe and creating the application inside Teams as an iframe. So if you were to open this up, that is the second test. You need to make sure it's working, right? So if you go here and if you paste this, you should be able to see, it will give you this warning for the first time, so it's okay. So just say okay, and then you will see this application pop up, right? So that is the second kind of validation that you need to make sure that it's working correctly locally, right? So then then what you need to do is there is this website called apps dev portal. So it's dev.teams.microsoft.com/apps, right? So if you log into that, I have given the login. So I have logged in as myself, but you can also log in as yourself. Um, if you can't, that's fine. There may be some licensing issues, but we can fix that. Or you can kind of use mine. I'll share it in a private chat. So this you log in, and what you need to do once you log in is like there are three things, right? First is the home page. So this is obviously the it gives you a lot of the marketing material. The second piece is this apps. So when you come into the apps, this is my custom app that I have uploaded. So you have to you can upload this via manifest. So that is the another key thing to remember. Import. If you go to my project, there's this manifest folder. In the manifest folder, you will actually find a JSON file called manifest, and this kind of declares and tells teams everything that is going on with your app, right? So the first time you want to upload this app, you will basically have to give a unique ID, because if you're all working to the same 365 account, then you can't have the same duplicate ID. Otherwise, we'll overwrite each other's app, right? So we should make sure that we don't overwrite each other's app. Then the key thing to remember here is so this is the actual section. So static tabs will tell you all the tabs that are available in your application, and this should point to our ngrok URL, right? So if you see this content URL, that should be actually pointing to this URL. So this is from my old session. So this is the only painful part. So you need to, every time you kill this ngrok, it gives you a new ID, and then you need to make sure you put that ID here. You don't have to do it. I'll show you an alternate way. This is like if you want to upload the manifest. So that is the first place you want to change, and we'll come to the bot section. So there are two pieces, right? One is static tab, which is the application running, and the bot is your second area, and you will have a scope. So whether you want to make it available for personal usage, or you can actually put it into a group chat, or you can put it into a Teams channel, right? So all those are optional. You can kind of play around with it. If you want to add this app as you're having a meeting, then you will actually select either a team or a group chat, right? So that's an option. So this bot I have given, this is another ID, and I'll show you how to create that. And then this is a valid domain, right? You need to put this ngrok ID back again here. So a couple of things to remember there, right? So, but you don't have to upload the manifest every single time. Once you set up the application, you can actually modify these properties directly inside the dev portal. So I'll show you kind of where to do that, right? So when you click on this auto repair, uh, it kind of opens this up, and then what you need to do here is you need to click on this app features. So whatever we declared here, right, in our JSON file, like if you see here, there's like a static tab and there's a bot. The same exact thing will be reflected here, right? It's just a friendly representation of what we have actually given in the JSON file. So when you come here, the first thing I want to change is you click on this and edit, and then this will tell you the personal app and the URL, right? So you can actually go ahead and edit this. So edit, and you can see here, right, this is the old URL. Now we need to fix that to the new URL. So you're going to copy it from here and you replace this. So this will make sure that from the dev portal, you are now connecting through the tunneling solution to the current version of the application that you're running locally on the laptop, right? It's a critical piece to remember. So you confirm that, and then you need to save it, right? So once you save that, it will save it. The next thing you want to do in our case, right, it is just not the static tab. You also have this bot. So for changing the bot URL, bot also uses the same ngrok message. So you need to come to this pencil, and then you need to click on bot management, right? So this bot management, you can click on edit here, and go to configure. And again, the same idea here. Now we are going to connect to the bot via Teams, but this is not just the endpoint URL. So you need to copy that URL. So if you go back here, so you will see there is also an API messages at the end. So you need to make sure you keep that API messages and replace just the ngrok part, right? And make sure it's HTTPS, because everything is HTTPS, right? Because that's one of the mistakes I did. So if you go back here, make sure everything is perfect, right? So if you go back, HTTPS, the ID of your currently running ngrok messages, right? You hit save. So once you do this, it's not actually updating the manifest that we have on our local laptop. It's actually configuring it directly in the portal, right? So once you do that, I think the bot is set up and the channels, the application also is set up well. So now all you need to do is click into this application, um, and uh, and you have this preview in Teams button. You can click on preview in Teams. It'll open up another thing, and it'll open up your application, right? Um, so you should have Teams installed when you log into your dev portal. It'll actually have you. It'll give you an option to actually and download the Teams. So this is not the Teams version that comes directly with Windows. It's a kind of an enterprise version. So you need to make sure that you have it there, right? So once that preview in Teams is clicked, it will open up Teams on your local laptop, and then it'll also kind of show this dialog to allow you to add your application to your personal team. So, and this is going to give a message because it's not published. It's just development, right? Right now, it's not in the from your organization. You're just trying to do it from the team store, right? So just click on add. It'll take a couple of seconds, and it'll add it, and you will see that it comes. And then you can see this is the chat window, and this is the main application window, right? When you start off from scratch, I was playing with this before, so that's why it has a chat history. But otherwise, you will see that. Uh, I think that is still taking the old one. Let's see here. PC F7. So yeah, that's a problem. So I think sometimes I need to close this Teams window completely. It'll cache a lot of things, and it's sometimes painful. So let's make sure we come back here and check everything one more time. Personal edit. It's a home tab. Okay, so this is F7. This is correct. And about. Let's make sure this is also correct. Let's see here. About. Okay, this looks fine. And then we'll check the bot also. Sometimes it takes a while for it to understand and deploy. That's something I have seen. It takes some time sometimes, and you will see the old version of the app pop up, but it's just all growing pains. So if you come back here, preview in Teams one more time, it'll ask you add it again. So just hit add. The key thing to remember is you should actually see calls coming here. So if you see this, right, this is what you should see. Let's come back here and see whether we got it. Yeah, it's still